Anybody on the runway? Anybody down here?
What are your on the runway items?
DG?
The red stuff up here.
Right, the DG.
Okay. Could be pretty much on 6, might be off a tiny bit.
A little bit off, but it looks good. Engine instruments look good.
So that's over here.
All green.
These two are actually engine. Amps is here. Suction is over there.
That's this right here.
Yep. Lights are your landing lights and strobes. So 4 switches up. Now there's no advantage to not running both lights.
These two?
Yep, so you got 4 switches up, that's good.
Okay.
And the transponder's on 1200, it says ground, but as soon as you're in the air, it'll flip.
Yep.
We're good.
Flaps are up. Repeat. All right, we're going.
Now that goes over here in the center. There isn't anywhere. That looks like a place to put stuff, it's not. It was originally supposed to be for
All right. Airspeed's alive.
Don't ride the brakes. Right pedal, not the top of it, the bottom of it. Heels need to be back on the floor. Not too high. There you go. Remember, your speed is your friend, especially if it's turbulent.
Yeah, I was just anticipating. So right to the power plant?
Once you get to normal turn altitude, yes.
Okay.
Tyler City, Skyhawk 972 Whiskey Whiskey, 7 miles to the southeast, coming in for runway 4, Tyler City. 2,500 descending, Tyler City.
Now remember, your feet should be active at least until you're up 1,000 feet or more. After that, if you don't use them quite so much, not as big a problem. But they should be, if you're rocking the wings, your toes should be wiggling.
All right. Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is headed north out of the pattern. Person County traffic.
Sure you look before you turn.
I didn't.
North is left.
I know. Oh, okay. I said right, and I meant, never mind.
Implanted that notion in your subconscious.
I'm not sure what I was planting. It wasn't growing.
One of the things I've tried, there's several little things that I work on in technique.
This plant or that plant?
That one.
Okay.
In technique. Either one's okay. I mean, we've got a preference. And one of them is to get away from saying the word right to mean correct.
So what do you say instead? We don't.
So, 1 minute, 14,000 feet below, and jumpers are over the field, so you got.
Say correct?
Yeah, when I said, go to normal
City,
turn.
Skyhawk 972 Whiskey Whiskey.
When I said go to normal turn altitude to make your turn, if you're really working to polish up real well, you'd say correct.
Okay.
Or you'd say Wilco, will comply. Or
okay.
You'd say, which is something the controllers use, or like for you to use. The term Roger doesn't mean you're going to do anything, it just means I heard you. Though people tend to use it to mean I will comply, that's not actually what Roger means. So the term Roger, term Wilco means will comply.
And that article you sent basically kind of indicated Roger's not really preferred.
Well, most people do it. Again, to me, I don't have as much heartburn about that one. the things like trying to designate the active. Active just means you got something in use.
Yeah,
Doesn't
that's
mean which one it is.
That makes no sense.
And just because you want to use runway 6 doesn't mean I can't use runway 24.
Especially
We
if the
just
winds are
can't do
calm.
it. Yeah, can't do it at the same time.
Yeah.
So, and there are several. I do have some pet peeves, and one of them is I'm taking the runway. People, and I hear it fairly regular. I'm taking the runway.
Please don't. We need it.
Yeah. Well, when are you gonna bring it back? I hadn't actually said that to anybody yet, but I've sure been tempted.
I know.
And then the other one is aircraft in the area, please advise.
I know, that's bad.
And the article made a lot of sense. You know, if other people think they're in your immediate area, they're going to tell you. You don't have to ask them.
Right.
And otherwise, why does it matter?
All right, I'm at 3,140.
Okay, so level out. It's been so long since we did this, people get rusty at flying at anything above traffic pattern altitude.
Ooh.
Use your gauges to help you, especially this one. Remember, it's got a lag to it, but it does give you a trend real quickly. So if it's trending 200 feet, this is gradually getting out of control.
You're right.
So when we start doing cross countries, or in fact getting ready for the check ride, holding altitude is important. And then one of the recent debates, people just started saying it is, Person County, we're departing the area to the north, last call.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Yeah, what does that have to do with anything?
That means they're not going to talk anymore, I assume.
Well, it does mean they're going to change frequency. And I want to say, oh, please don't go. I want to talk to you. I haven't done that either. But I'm sure tempted. Or say, well, what happens if I need to talk to you again? But at the same token, you know, that one, some of my friends think's actually pretty good. Some, like me, just ambivalent about it. Anyway, back to our game. So we'll just stay here at 33, 35, 3400. And remember that clearing turn, any maneuver that may lose altitude requires a clearing turn.
Right.
So before we do a power off stall, we want to do 2 90-degree clearing turns.
Okay.
And a clearing turn's generally a 30-degree bank angle. Don't need to really go any more than that, but if you use 5 or 10, it's going to take a long time to get around. And while you're doing this, you're supposedly looking down, around, and up, the whole purpose being that you don't run into another airplane. And so the longer it takes to complete it, the less likely it is. The more likely it is a fast mover could come into your area and you wouldn't know it.
Dallas City, Skyhawk 972, Whiskey Whiskey, downwind, runway 4, touch and go, Dallas City.
Okay, so now we want to do a power off stall. And we just do it all straight ahead. Start on the left, carb heat, then power, then flaps, just like you would a normal pattern.
Okay.
Except that we aren't coming down. We want to just hold altitude. Actually, let's once you get down about 70, we will glide a little bit, just because I'll be more reminiscent of your landing. All right, flaps. Okay, more flaps. Now, drop your nose a little bit, set up a glide. And power all the way out.
Dallas City, Skyhawk 972 Whiskey Whiskey, turning crosswind, turning phase, runway 4, stop and go.
All the way. Now slowly land the airplane. So bring the nose up nice and slow, but get it done. Don't let it just hang out there. Good. Beautiful. Keep coming very slowly. Keep coming. Pulling. You're almost there. Pull, pull, pull. More. You're not moving. Pull, pull. Harder. Bigger movement. Right there. Okay? Now, get out of it. You relax. Relax your left hand. Bring your power in. Wide open. RB Cole. If you're not wide open, you're not recovering correctly. There you go. 10 to 10. Pick up some speed, then the rest of the way up. Okay. Pretty good. Recovery you want to be a little more positive with.
Okay.
But other than that, you did fine.
Okay.
All right, let's do a turn to the right, and we'll use that as a clearing turn as we climb back up. So heading about east will work. Now,
How high do you want me to go?
3,000.
Okay.
This should give us about 90% of the traffic out there. Should show up as a little triangle, white triangle with a line.
Okay.
With a line in front of it.
Okay.
If they get close, it turns yellow. If it turns red, it's an imminent threat. All right, let's do another one.
Left?
No, just straight ahead.
Okay.
Do another stall.
Oh, I was going to do another clearing turn. Okay.
All right, and
Which stall are we doing?
we're doing the power off again.
Okay.
So just like we did the last one, and whenever you're ready. Remember, your feet are very important. If they're not moving at all, things aren't going to be good. Ball won't be centered if you're not using it at all. All right, get it over with. Not really stalling, just running out of lift.
But that's not stall?
No, it didn't buff it.
Okay.
Just ran out of lift. So you're all hanging right on the edge of it. Just pull a little bit harder. A little bit harder. A little harder. Keep moving. Keep moving. Keep moving. Right there. Feel the difference?
Yes.
All right, I have the controls.
Okay.
Not falling out of the air.
I know.
Coming down pretty damn hard.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do to get out of it. Now, I was working my feet pretty hard because it kept wanting to go over to the right. I was standing on that left rudder. Not, you got the controls.
My controls.
Standing on, then we'll go back up.
Okay.
Standing on that left rudder to keep it from turning. But all I did is hold it all the way back, just hang on to it.
Where are we going?
Back up to 3.
Okay.
Straight ahead will be fine.
Okay.
And so, you know, the purpose of that demo, people worry that the plane's totally out of control and going to roll over and play dead on them.
No, that's not, you know, that's funny.
So
that,
it's building a confidence level.
right, so to me, it's not that it's going to roll over and play dead. It's that I need to be anticipating that, make sure that I get my feet right. So
Yeah,
the hesitancy is not, the hesitancy is getting the correct reaction. That's all. I think that's right.
And your feet, that's the reason I say your feet point the nose. Because if you don't think about anything except where the nose is, if it turns, opposite foot. You know, it's just like doing the takeoff or a taxi. Use your feet to point the nose, you're going to be okay. If for some reason it should roll into a spin, and this plane really doesn't have any bad habits, you can induce them, but it doesn't really have them of its own. If it should start to roll over, break the stall and use your opposite foot. And even if it stalls and rolls to here, it's going to come out in knife edge if you break it, and then you roll back level and you're good. Just don't want that to happen at 200 or 300 feet above the trees, like in the traffic pattern.
Right.
Okay, want to do a power on, let's do one more. No, let's do one power on stall, then we're going to head back, and as we head back, we'll do a power off stall again.
Okay.
So,
Power on stall?
Yeah, remember this one is like taking off, so you want the plane as slow as you can get it without stalling. Add the power back in, let the nose come up, and then get your stall.
Flaps or no flaps?
No flaps.
Right, because we're taking off.
Right, taking off. And if you want to do a clearing turn to the right again, we'll do one and end up heading kind of back towards the airport.
Okay.
Downwind runway 5, wind executive. Dallas City, Skyhawk 972 Whiskey, turning final runway 4, touch and go.
Now you want to be a little bit more aggressive in your clearing turns. And pull your nose up. Otherwise you're losing altitude. Unless you're doing it on purpose. Alright. Looking pretty good.
All right. So now we should go to 55.
About 1,500 RPM, and that's enough without any drag to slow down. So you just basically want to hold altitude, use your vertical speed, your altimeter, and looking outside. Power on back, otherwise we would never stall. And you could slam the power in, we can go vertical, it's eventually quit flying.
That's okay.
All right, just checking. Okay, so bring your nose on up because we're coming down. Even though your nose is pointed up, we're still coming out of the air. This would be, tiny bit slower. It'd be about where you take off.
Want me to go to 55?
All right, so hold your pitch, hold your pressure in your yoke.
Okay.
Let the nose come up when you add power. So smoothly add the power back in. Now, there's a white cloud out there, but look out the corner of the windshield. Out there.
I do.
All right. Now, from here, we're going to have to pull back a tiny bit more, because otherwise we're not going to quite get there. Notice it's starting to turn to the left. That's foot, not hand. So, see the ball out on the turn coordinator?
Yep.
There you go. You may actually have a tiny bit of aileron into the turn. And just gradually keep coming back on it. Got to move the yoke. Keep pulling. You're doing it good. Don't rush it, but keep pulling, because if you let off, we're just going to hang here. Plane's climbing 700 feet a minute.
That's a stall.
We're looking around the nose.
Yep.
Okay, pull a little more. Tiny bit more. Alarm clock's going off, but you haven't gotten out of bed yet. Pull harder. Not too much rudder. Pull, 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 pull. There you go. Pull more. We're still just kind of hanging here in slow motion. Pull harder. That's the edge of it. Pull a little bit more. Pull a little more. Climb 500 feet. Pull more. Tiny bit of right foot. Now you still got about that much more you got to pull. It ain't gonna happen till you pull it. Right there. Now we could have gotten you out of that predicament a minute earlier if you just pull that last little bit.
You're right.
It's like taking medicine. You know it's going to taste bad. You don't want to take it, but the longer you think about it, the worse it gets.
Am I the only one that has a problem with this?
Oh, hell no.
Okay, just make me feel a little bit better.
Everybody has a problem with it.
I don't like it.
I've had one or two people that thought they were okay from the get-go, but very few.
Whew.
All right, I'll let you go for the day. Want to turn back to the east because we've got to go back into the downwind. And while we're doing this, I want to set up and do another landing stall.
You want me to go this way?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, your options, by the way, Tom, could be that you could swing out wide. You just can't get down from here.
Yeah, I was going to swing out wide, but
that would work.
I'm going to do what you want me to do.
Well, what I want you to put you in eventually is back on a normal downwind.
Okay.
That's my
we're going.
ultimate goal.
Okay.
So keep turning back around to about 060. Okay, beautiful. Don't see anybody else out here. Didn't see anybody on the scope. So now set up your landing. So carb, heat, power, and flaps. There you go. Now, we're going to let it come down this time.
Okay.
So just let it come in about 80.
3,100 feet inbound for runway 5 Monroe.
About 1,700. 10 degrees of flaps. Nice. Now, we're just going to glide for a minute. Just you really shouldn't have much pressure in your left hand. Plane kind of gliding down. It should start to lose about 500 feet a minute. And, you know, what it should look like pitch-wise. And if you look at your wingtip, you'll see the wingtip's kind of pointed down, a little bit of daylight under it. From here, you can actually see the curve of the wing because I can't see the whole tip.
Yeah, I see it.
I know that tip's out there. Okay, let's put in another notch flaps or two, or all of them, whichever you prefer. Still coming down, looking good.
Orange County traffic, Governor 15730, 10 to the north of Alpha Landing, runway 5, Harnigan.
Now remember your feet. Your feet ought to be tweaking, twinkle toes on the pedals. Ought to be not big movements, but very subtle as the plane rocks and rolls and you work the yoke. If you don't, the nose will sit and twitch. What your objective is to pick something out in front of you and keep it dead on it. All right, power all the way to an idle, still coming down. Good, beautiful, very nice. Not too, not let it come down a lot unless you need to maintain speed. Like if you were coming in high, then the nose would drop. Otherwise, we'd be kind of coming in over the end of the runway about now. Down to about 65, that's a perfect speed angle. And then from here, just pretend you landed. Power all the way out. Gradually bring the nose up to level. And then gradually pull on back till it quits flying. Coming, because otherwise we plop onto the runway.
Dallas City, Sky 972, Whiskey, turning downwind, runway 4, stop and go.
Tiny bit more. Right foot, tiny bit. Good. That's the stall right there. Good recovery. Power up. Remember, wide open. Until you get wide open, you're not really going to be able to climb much. Then flaps to 10. And carb heat when you think about it. And we'll just level out so you can bring the power back. Okay, nice smooth procedure. Once we start working hardcore, we'll pick up the pace of it, but you did it correctly. All right, so back to about 2,300 RPM. Airport's kind of back behind Mike's shoulder, so we can do a descending turn around back to the airport.
Okay.
I don't see anybody.
Did I make an announcement at this point?
You can. You're
Downwind?
No, you are 4 miles north, inbound 45 angle to the downwind, runway 6.
First County traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is 4 miles to the north, coming in at a 45-degree angle for downwind for runway 6, Person County.
Perfect.
Come on in, Blue Ridge traffic, Bonanza 625 Bravo 10 south. Be entering left base 31 Blue Ridge.
So should I just gradually come down to 1600 at this point and then come in?
Yes. Yeah, you ideally don't want to descend in the pattern. You want to be down before you get there. 2 reasons. One
Right,
is you don't want to descend on top of somebody. And number 2 is that planes leaving are typically going to be higher than you are by this point.
Yep.
And so that eliminates some potential conflict as well.
Person County traffic, Cessna 262 Echo Romeo, about 5 miles out to the north, and I'm sort of turning crosswind for runway 6.
That's your
See
guy.
how much better you sounded than he did? Power up, 23. Now, Tom, one of the things I see over and over again, I didn't used to see it, but I see it nowadays a lot. People quit thinking about altitude. And altitude is important to you because A, it sets the table for your good landing. If you start in the same place every time, then judging what to do to fix it every time is easier.
I
So go ahead and turn, otherwise you're going to be in too tight. Your
definitely.
nose up, there you go.
Jumpers away, 14,000 people.
Yeah, if you get in too tight, it's going to mess you up because you aren't going to have a base leg, and you need a base leg. And you also don't want to be coming down out here. You want to nail your 1,600 feet. Person County 172 Papa Alpha is downwind, runway 6, Person.
I was going to do it.
I know. I want you to concentrate on flying. Remember, the aviate, navigate, and communicate. And there's a reason communicating is the last thing you
You're right.
do. I think that article talked about it.
Yeah.
If it didn't, there's another
Left base 31.
article I can get you that does talk about that.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 6, Person County.
Wings X tip 505 Romeo on the left base, full stop, jump 5, wings X.
Person County traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Romeo is downwind to 6.
Watch pitch, airspeed, power. Think about what you're doing. Power is good.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 6, Person County.
Altitude looks good. Angle looks pretty good.
Now I'm getting pushed.
So you want to visualize a path over the ground that will roll you out lined up on the runway. Not at an angle, but straight at it. So you're visualizing your arc over the ground. And that's the same thing you do in the turns about a point. The S turns over a highway. And from here, you're a little fast, but you're beginning to get a tiny bit low. So let's trade off a little bit of airspeed for some altitude. Now, our ground speed's also down, so it may take a little extra power to get there. See stuff rising that isn't supposed to be rising in your picture, and we're also coming in pretty fast. So you're diving in. See all these lights rising? Okay, so now you're looking for about 65 to 70. Use power to make it work. It's going to take it. You can't glide from here. You're going to need power. Keep pointing the nose where you want it to go over the ground and to the runway. So point it down past the numbers. Keep that part still. Keep coming down. Don't level out. Don't level out. Good. Power all the way out. Now work your landing. Work it, work it, work it.
2 Echo Romeo is turning base.
Stay on it. Remember, if it balloons up, it's going to take a bigger movement when it starts back down. If you don't do that bigger movement, then we kind of plop. Not bad.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is on the go for traffic pattern. Person County. Yeah. Not bad. Not great.
Well, that's why we're out here practicing.
That's right. Practice makes perfect.
Keep your tip of your cowling right on the horizon,
Traffic, Cessna
or
2
just
Echo
barely
Romeo
above it.
Full stop of runway 6.
Jeez. Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 6, Person County.
No, rectangular pattern.
Well, I was angling because of the wind, but no?
Well, a tiny bit, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I just think
Okay, long as you had a purpose.
I did have a purpose. I should,
Okay.
but I should have said something.
Turning base runway 4 for touch and go, Tower City.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 6, Person County. So far up, but I'm going to try to correct.
You're not bad.
Well, a little bit. Now I'm going to anticipate that the wind is pushing me a little bit faster.
Tower City.
So we're doing 115 over the ground, so you got a 15 knot tailwind at the moment.
Tower City.
Person County traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Romeo clear. Echo Romeo is taxi back to the
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 6, Person County.
Think about what the wind's doing, what angles you're going to use. Fix it.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 6, Person County.
The angle to the runway looks good. Control, if you pull up too hard, we level out. Some days you need to level out, but you also give up airspeed.
A little high.
Not bad. Yeah, you a tiny bit, but not bad.
70 right now.
Looking good. 500 feet a minute down. Pitch, point the nose where you want the plane to go. Adjust airspeed with power. If you want to go past the 3 stripes, 1,000-foot markers, somewhere in there. But instead of pitching up to slow down, or sometimes you got to pitch down to speed up because you need it quicker than power can give it to you. But in general, manage power to get where you want to be. Point the nose, manage power. Manage airspeed with power. Good. About now, power all the way out. Work on your flare. Looking good. Very nice, very nice.
Why did it vibrate?
Because you're on one tire and had a little side load to it.
That's not good.
No, but you were on the center line. You worked a beautiful flare. You had the nose up. You were on one wheel, which would be the correct answer with the wind coming from over there slightly. All that looked good.
Okay.
The reason, at the very last, a tiny bit of rudder would have solved that, but not much.
Man, I'll tell you what, it takes off, doesn't it, when this wind?
Yeah, it likes that extra airspeed.
You lift off the runway, it's like boing, straight up, like an elevator. I guess that's why they call it an elevator. Getting hot. These work.
Yeah,
Because you had them working last time.
the ones behind you had worked pretty good.
Final clear.
Yeah, you keep doing them like that last one, you're going to be there.
I'm hoping. Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 6, Person County. Pick a wind.
Salvage City, Scott, 972 Whiskey, turning base runway 4, touch and go, Salvage City.
I guess that plane is a double.
What?
Whiskey, whiskey.
Oh. I had a plane, a Seneca, years ago, was whiskey, whiskey. I hated that call sign.
Can't you change them?
Could have. I ended up just selling the plane. Not per se because of that, just, but I ended up selling it.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 6, Person County.
And occasionally you hear one say, echo, echo.
That's kind of like the definition of an echo. Oh.
Charlie Executive Tower, Mooney 714, uniform is 8 miles to the east. We're inbound 3000. Charlie Executive.
You're up Siler City. Salvage City, Scott, 972 Whiskey, turning final runway 4, touch and go, Salvage City.
I know I'm high, way high. Guess on a truck ride you can't just say that.
No, I mean, some days, as long as you're correcting, No, they don't expect on a check ride for you to fly perfectly. What they do expect is if you're off to start getting it back. If you're 200 feet off and just say, oh, what the, then that doesn't look good. If you say, I'm a little high, I'm going to put working back. Now you've told the examiner, I mean, you don't want to be saying that every 3 or 4 minutes, but now you've told the examiner you're aware of it. But if you just put it back, he's aware of what you're doing as well.
Traffic Mooneyport uniform is now 4 miles to the east. We're inbound 2,000.
Person County Traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 6, Person County. So the wind's going to push me a little bit more.
Pushing you away right now.
Right, which is what I wanted because I wanted to correct for the lineup.
Want to be wider, further out?
Well,
It's up to you.
I was trying to bleed off some of that speed, so I was trying to come a gradual.
Well, remember, speed is power dependent for the most part. The altitude's okay, and we're now about a mile out, so.
Person County Traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base, turning final for runway 6, Person County.
We're a little bit wider than normally we'd want to be, but not terribly bad.
.77, that's speed's okay.
Don't dive it in. Worst thing especially on a turbulent day, is to be low. Got a wind shear, now you're in the lights instead of gliding down to the runway. So the angle you see right now is as shallow as you want to be.
I tried to turn them on earlier and they didn't come on.
Good.
There we go.
Right foot. Can't let that nose come around. You got to drag it over with your wing. I know you're used to driving a car and you drive it back to the center line. Airplane, you drop the wing and pull it to the center line.
So I guess there's a little bit of a crosswind now.
It's variable.
That's my favorite. I thought I figured
Keeps
it out.
you from being bored.
I know.
Wouldn't want to be bored, would you?
You know about Mother Nature.
Now hold my beer. Not nice to fool Mother Nature.
Nope. Not.
And Size City Whiskey, we have on the scope no other aircraft within 3 miles.
And why does that make any difference?
I guess it was a fun fact.
I guess.
Size City 972 Whiskey turning base runway 4 for touch and go, Size City.
What he was trying to say is any airplane in the area, please advise. That's
Yeah.
what he was trying to say.
Well, I'm assuming he's a student.
I would sort of think that. Might even be on a check ride.
Person County Traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 6, Person County.
Salis City, Skyhawk 972 Whiskey Whiskey, turning final runway 4, touch and go, Salis City.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 6, Person County. Yeah, our ground speed's 116. 116.
My suggestion is you're going out a little too far.
Okay.
Wind's pushing you wider. This is the turn where you actually if you're going to fly the wind, you actually want to be angled in ever so slightly, not away from.
Okay.
Pierce County traffic, Cirrus 530 Juliet Fox is 10 miles to the southwest, making
You're right.
straight in runway 06.
If your wing is pointed at the runway, you're flying away from it. Wing should be parallel, not pointed at. And if the wind's blowing that way, you actually want it pointed in even wider angle, not a shallower.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 6, Person County.
So, looking good.
Salis City, Skyhawk 972
Pitch
Whiskey
control.
Whiskey,
There
turning
you
final
go.
runway 4, close traffic, Salis City.
Now, you put the flaps in a lot earlier, so think about what that's going to do to you. Deal with it as you think it's appropriate.
Okay.
How mushy the plane's feeling.
Yeah.
So that, be careful, that tells you your airspeed's getting a little bit low. Now, the angle you've been using won't work. Now the nose has got to be lower because the flaps change the curve of your wing. Looking good.
So the lesson learned is don't put them in too soon.
Well, decide when to put them in.
Salis City,
Okay.
Whiskey downwind,
Normally I don't
runway
put them in
4,
quite that
close
soon,
traffic,
but
Salis City.
you can. It's just you got to compensate.
Pierce County traffic, Cirrus 530 Juliet Fox on a 6-mile straight in approach to 06, Pierce County traffic.
Looking good.
Hard.
Yep, got a little bit more to use. Doing pretty good. I'm not touching anything. Person County 2 Papa Alpha on takeoff roll, runway 6, person.
How's it going, Steve? We're coming right down your back with the Cirrus. Mike.
Going good. How about you?
We got a taxi ride home today. Doing good.
Where's your plane?
It's sitting in pre-buy. Florida.
So how about the plane you're buying? Is it in pre-buy?
Not yet. Can't count the chickens till the eggs are done.
I understand. I've been in that position.
Salis City 972 Whiskey Whiskey, turning face runway 4, touch and go, Salis City.
Cherokee 711 Fox Lima, 6 miles northwest, landing runway 5, Harnett County. Hunter traffic, Cherokee 720 Fox Lima, 8 miles to the northwest, landing runway 5, Hunter traffic.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 6, Person County.
Dallas City, Sky 972 Whiskey, turning final runway 4, touch and go, Dallas City.
So you just got one more lesson after this?
2 more.
Thanks. Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 6, Person County.
And Person County 0 Juliet, stop, short, final 6, person.
Jim? I don't see him. Oh, there he is.
That's about a mile away.
What is?
That plane. If he were coming straight at you and he's doing 200, you're doing 100.
Fly 2000, with the left downwind for runway 5, Harnett County.
And too far out, but
Little dot right there.
yeah.
Dallas City, Skyhawk 972 Whiskey, depart the pattern, thank you very much. Dallas City.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 6, Person County.
And Harnett County Cherokee 711 Fox Lima.
Pierce County traffic, 0530 Fox, vacating the runway on Falcon 4, Pierce County.
Now, you can use your directional gyro to help you a little bit.
I should be pointing this out.
You should be pointed about 150.
Okay.
South is 30 degrees off the runway, not
Okay.
perpendicular.
45 and left down runway 5, Harnett.
And run.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 6, Person County.
See, we're just, every lap we're getting wider and wider.
Yeah, I know.
We're going to stay at 2000 as we overfly the field.
Trying to fix the wind, and I'm not doing well.
So, course you're actually tracking over the ground is right there. That magenta.
Yeah.
So downwind it should be 24. Base leg it should be 15. And the inbound 06.
Okay.
But long as you don't get low, you know, it's your call whether you want to do a long pattern or not.
Well, I know you don't prefer it.
What I really look for is your ability to recognize and correct. I don't expect people to fly perfectly, but I do want to see their thinking so that if they're starting to get into a place they don't need to be, they recognize it in time to fix it before it becomes critical. 4 red lights this far out is getting pretty low. At night, it'd be dangerously low. taken. Airspeed, because we're slower than you normally are, you're getting behind the power curve and you're pulling up, makes it worse, not better. Power is what makes it better. Pitch down. Otherwise, you're just hanging up here. We're level. We're not coming down. We're not doing anything. Work it. Work it. Ready. You're about to fall out of the air again.
Is that a gust?
Oh.
What was it?
Got too slow. Corrected by pulling up instead of adding power. Then I got slower. And it's nothing left to save you.
I just do one more?
That'll be fine.
I just want to make sure you don't miss your lesson.
Oh, I'm fine. Keep going.
Like the winds are getting a little bit more aggressive. What do you think?
It's possible you're getting a little bit of thermal heating now. When you're doing this, airspeed is like blood. Bleed out, you're going to be in serious trouble for your life. If you lose your airspeed before the runway is right under you, same problem. Especially, you know, quarter mile, half mile out, and pulling the nose up and getting slowed. If you don't want to keep coming down, pulling the nose up will work, but only if you add power.
7 miles to the east, setting up 45 upwind for runway 31.
Remember, with 10 degrees of flaps, it takes about 2,000 RPM just to hold level. Go to full flaps, it's going to take 2,200, 2,300 RPM to hold level.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 6, Person County.
But if you arrive, you know, 5 to 10 feet in the air with no airspeed, that's just like bleeding out after an accident.
We're 6 miles out at this time.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 6, Person County.
Hornet traffic 060 Foxtrot, left base runway 5, full stop, Hornet.
Traffic Skyhawk 8148 Bravo, 10 miles to the south of the field, 3,500 Wilson County.
Well, a little bit better position.
Think of pitch control.
200 Foxtrot, Foxtrot runway 5, Hornet.
Yeah, you're over the ground, you're fine. Distance to the runway, you're good. Very good, in fact. But you're angled in ever so slightly. Not bad. I mean, you're tracking pretty close to parallel to it.
Blue Ridge traffic, Skylane 92677. We've departed the airport, heading
Hey, go ahead.
east,
Go ahead, make your turn.
92677. We're looking for that traffic. Swift 46 calls, 2.5 miles, 45 upwind. We got you in sight, no factor. Good enough. Have a nice. You have a good one. Thank you, sir.
Now, what you tracking over the ground?
1-6.
Okay.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 6, Person County.
Dive in. Pitch control is very important. What are you seeing?
Well, high.
Not necessarily to the nose, just what are you seeing you do? Are you sinking slowly, you're high, you're low?
High.
And then pitch goes with that. And then airspeed goes with that. So we're down to 70. The tendency to bring the nose up, don't do that. Just keep coming down. You're leveling out, and there goes your airspeed. Now you know speed, and we're back in pretty good shape. Good. Work your flare slowly, but work it. Wait on it. Wait. Stay with it. Somewhere you're looking is what's messing you up.
Well,
You've made several really good ones today.
I mean, I don't really want to blame the wind, but man,
The last couple, you've been landing high.
and
And that tells me you're probably looking too close. Probably need to look a little bit further down the runway. Not all the way at the end, but from here, 2 to 3 stripes.
But I guess there's a part of me that feels like the last couple of ones, especially the plane. Obviously not. I can't blame the plane because it's me. I'm in charge. But the wind,
Making it more challenging.
well, it was just doing unexpected stuff, and I was trying to anticipate it. And like that,
And you can't.
that last thing, that was completely unexpected. But look at that wind. I think that it's coming off a little bit that way now.
And it could be. But see,
And that's not an excuse.
no, but it's an insight, okay? There's a need to anticipate a little bit, but not to be rigid about your anticipation.
Yeah,
No,
that's
to-
what it is. That's what I'm doing. I'm sitting there like this.
Okay,
What's
I
gonna
know it's
happen?
coming from over here, and I'm
It's
going
like-
to shoot that sucker.
Well,
But it sneaks up on you from over
right.
here.
So
It's a matter of, yes, you want to be aware, but you react to what you see happening, not think ahead. I'm kind of like you. I used to overthink it. I used to, have it all planned out, only to find out Mother Nature doesn't play that game.
when is that going to get fixed?
By you're the guy that's got to fix it.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out. You said it happened to you. I'm trying to figure how long it took you to.
The awareness of it. Once I become aware of the problem, I can solve my problem.
Okay.
If I don't know how to solve it or I'm not aware of it, that's a whole different issue. But basically, where it got me was I'd come in to land, and I'd get everything set up, and I had controlling the plane wasn't the problem. The problem was that I'd get it all set up and in the flare, and then my brain said, "Okay, you're here, you're done," and I'd quit doing anything. And when I quit doing anything, invariably, I wasn't exactly where I thought I was. The plane quit flying and dropped in from 6 inches or a foot. And in J3, the tires look like basketballs, and they bounce like basketballs. You drop it in from a foot, you're sitting there, boom, bada boom, da boom, down the runway. And so there came a point where I had to, and my instructor never figured it out, never told me what to do. There came a point where I said to say, okay, I can't quit doing something until I feel the plane on the runway. Until then, I've got to keep working the yoke. I can't get it into the proper position thinking I'm perfect and just freeze, because invariably I'm not perfect and it's not in the right place. And so once that, but I really didn't have too much trouble, lining it up, using my feet, working the flare to a point. I just looking a little bit in the wrong place and anticipating, and I was wrong.
Okay. All right. RP cold.